All right, I'm gonna do a little video on stupid things that people say about self-defense or personal protection. And it's usually commenters in our videos. So there's a lot of stupid things people say. I'm gonna give a shout out to Phil Elmore because he wrote an entire book on stupid things people say about self-defense. So I haven't gotten the book yet, but Phil, I'm gonna get the book and I'm gonna enjoy the book. Unless I'm in the book for some of the stupid things I've said in the past. We all say stupid things, and I will say stupid things later on that I will later go, yeah, I was kind of not thinking when I said that. And it happens to all of us. But these are common things that people say that are just usually said out of ignorance, or sometimes they're honest, but they're so obvious. The one I'm going to talk about today is true. It's obviously true, and it's honest, but it's just a surface, shallow way of looking at things. And people who say it aren't really thinking things through, or are just looking at the surface of personal protection and counter violence. So the stupid thing is the just run statement. If you are practicing combatives, you should also practice self-defense. By this I mean awareness, practicing good boundaries in your life, avoidance, de-escalation, lifestyle choice, not going to stupid places where stupid people do stupid things, as Phil Elmore has said on more than one occasion, right? Keep yourselves out of those places. If you believe in this ideal, you should be practicing that already. And I know most people who practice combatives also practice this lifestyle. And most people who practice combatives want nothing more than to avoid, because they understand how shit can go south like that in real violence. So when we're posting videos or talking about combatives saying, well, just run. Okay, I would have if I could have. So that's the first premise of watching somebody show a fighting technique. If they could have avoided, they would have. So quit posting just run on there and making yourself look stupid, right? You might be smart, you might be intelligent, but you're just not thinking this through, and you're not thinking as deeply as the people who put a lot of time into practicing counter violence. So, yeah, just run. Well, I've got sciatica and a bad back. I can't outrun most people, so I'm gonna have to fight tired if I run, and I might be running and getting attacked from behind. I'm not going to turn my back on somebody who's already closed distance on me. What if they came up to you and the fight's already on? What if all your awareness, you weren't thinking, you were distracted that day, and the fight has been brought to you already? Well, if you just run, you're just getting hit, stabbed, or whatever into the back. So sometimes you can't run because of that situation. Or maybe, criminals, if we're talking criminal violence, they're gonna try to set you up so you don't have that opportunity. So maybe they're successful, maybe they're skilled at that, and maybe you have to react after you're in a bad position. Or maybe you're walking with your child, your grandchildren, your nieces, your nephews, or just children that you're responsible for. Or maybe you're with somebody who can't run because of physical disabilities or whatever, right? For whatever reason. So now someone under your protection, are you gonna run and leave them behind? See, these things are not well thought out. The idea of just run, that comment is just not taking into consideration the broader context of self-defense. And it drives me nuts. I get so fucking frustrated with people who say that. I get so mad because, I mean, I agree with them. I would just run if I will do everything to avoid a fight. I never want to be involved in violence. Violence is ugly. It's tragic, and there are consequences to it. So anyone who thinks that practicing combatives means that we are eager to enter violence is wrong. The reason we practice combatives is because we never want to be victims of violence. If we get into a situation where we have to counter violence, people who practice combatives do so they have a better chance at countering violence. In Canada, you are 3 times more likely to be involved in violence than to suffer through a catastrophic fire where you lose everything. And yet we all buy fire insurance. So combatives is like violence insurance. It may never pay off. You may never have to use it if you're using self-defense and awareness and good boundaries. Hope you probably will never have to use it if you practice that. But sometimes, even if you do all the right things, bad things happen. So it's good to have that insurance. The other side of that, though, is just because you have it doesn't mean you're going to successfully win a violent confrontation, right? Doesn't mean that you're going to come out on top. So and I understand why some people wouldn't want to put time into this, because that's the best an honest instructor can offer you, is give you a better chance at surviving. But man, you got to think about this. If you're talking criminal violence, most violence in Canada is social violence. But if you're talking criminal violence, or even with social violence with people who are experienced at doing violence, if you're dealing with somebody who uses violence habitually, they're probably better at using it than you. So even if you do have some skills, you may not have the skills to counter what they have. So that's just the reality of it. As a combatives and martial arts instructor, I can only give you what I think is best, but you'll never hear me say just run, but you will hear me say that your responsibility is to avoid violence, if possible, at all times. That's not quite as simplistic, is it? Thank you.